Welcome back to another episode of Couples Night 1 year later.
Yeah, it's been a pretty long time, hasn't it, huh? How's everyone doing?
It's definitely been about a year.
Yeah, life just kind of gets in the way.
I think the last time we did a video was just after E3.
Probably so. This year's been pretty hectic for everyone with COVID. The Black Lives Matter movement. It's been a pretty crazy year.
Yeah, it's definitely had ups and downs, but video games, however, have not slowed down in the slightest. Definitely a lot of conventions and expos have been closed down, but a lot of companies are just taking the initiative and taking it and putting it online, which to us personally doesn't affect anything because we just watch it online anyway. But I'm sure for a lot of people who are in the like news industry for video games and things like that, I'm sure it's hitting them a little bit harder. But for me and you, and I'm sure for everybody that's like us, it's not really too much of a big deal.
No, I could sit on my couch, I could sit on my chair, and I could just watch a video game trailer. I'm in a good spot. I don't care how it happens, when it happens, but that's the best part. Just that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, E3 is usually for us like pajamas and food, so
mostly the sausage bread you make.
Yes, I do make. We usually have like a little E3 party where it's like me, you. Usually our friend Sandy comes, but he has moved, or your cousin, they'll come. And I'll make crumb cake and sausage bread, and you will either order pizza or fried chicken.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm
No.
basic.
It's very fun. It's a very fun time. But Sony, not that it mattered if E3 was canceled or not this year, they had their state of play, where of course they talked about a whole bunch of games. Basically, every game that they showed was going to be coming out for PS5, along with showing the PS5. So I don't know how you want to start this. If you want to just jump into the console, or you want to start like game first and then we'll talk the console at the end. I don't really mind.
Yeah, if anything, we could since they just started off with showing stuff, we could just start with what they were talking about.
Okay, so we'll talk about the games first, and I guess we'll basically do it for like how they showed everything.
Yeah.
I guess GTA is coming to PS5.
Well, look, listen. Have you actually seen the memes online that they've made about it?
No.
Oh, it's great. So, for the last decade prior to this one, we had Vice City, we had GTA 3, and we had GTA 4. And that's the first thing they show. It's been a decade past.
Yeah.
A decade this year has been GTA 5, GTA 5, GTA 5.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed, and it's probably Rockstar's probably working on 6, but they understand that those shark cards and the monetization systems in this game make so much money. Why should we move past this game?
I mean, if you think about it too, it's kind of crazy the fact that GTA 5 now is on its third generation of consoles, starting with like PS3 to Xbox 360 to PS4 and Xbox One to now the Series X and now the PS5. But people will definitely still buy it. GTA is always though something I feel like it's kind of a one of a kind type of thing. So I guess that why people like constantly rebuy it, because there's nothing like. It's almost as if it's like its own genre of game at some point where like, you know, I remember specifically working at like a game store and people being like, I guess what was the closest thing? And I think it was like either between like Saints Row, or for the children, it would be Lego City.
And it's wild because I remember when people used to make comparisons to Yakuza, like the other way.
Yeah,
it's just like a Japanese GTA, and I'm like, I just gave him the biggest side eye, like, all right.
I wouldn't go that far of that. But yeah, they did say though, I guess for PS5 owners, if you get it, GTA 5 will be free for online. And if you have it for PS4 already, every month you get like $1 million in GTA cash for every month that GTA 5 for PS5 is not out.
Yeah, up until release, basically.
Can you imagine it got delayed?
More money for the players.
That's what I feel like. I'm sure they would be like, sure, yeah, fucking.
It's just a win-win that you can't lose.
But that was about it for GTA 5. It wasn't really anything like, you know, it's they weren't adding anything new. It was just to be like, hey, we're porting it. Thanks for supporting. So here's like $1 million for every month, which I'm not sure if that's even really like a lot for that game.
I have no sense of scope of
Yeah.
that game, so I will not speak about what that means. 'Cause
Right.
I have
Like,
no idea.
I could totally see people be like, oh, $1 million. That's like nothing nowadays in GTA 5.
Yeah, no, but the best part is, hey, let's introduce our beautiful new hardware with a game from like 2012.
Yeah, seriously.
Isn't it amazing? It's funny because you can see it's aging now, though. That's the thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always laugh. Like the stilted animations, the textures on the characters look more like clay than it did before. It's just kind of funny to see that now.
It's very funny. But then they showed one of the best things throughout the entire state of play, which was your boy Miles Morales is getting his own video game.
Oh yeah. You mean the one that looked like Injustice for like 2 seconds?
And everyone was like, ugh.
It's funny because Mortal Kombat 11 has been it's been a very mixed bag for a lot of the fighting game community from what I've seen.
Oh, I'm sure.
People in that community tend to complain a lot about balance issues. I can understand that. I don't play the game enough. I do play fighting games. I don't play that one though.
Right. Yes, you're very big in the fighting game aspect.
Yeah, and I'm always very curious because I've always heard complaints about balancing in the other Injustice games. So if they do release that one, I wonder how it's gonna go. And I hope they do a good job because you'll never appease fighting game fans. That's the thing I can promise you.
But yeah, it's called Marvel's Spider-Man. Now I'm getting my words mixed up.
Yeah, it was just word garbage coming out of my mouth.
Miles Morales. It is basically it's weird. It got a lot of like mixed communication about it was for the first couple of days this game got announced. Of course, when we first saw the trailer, we're like, oh my god, like the Spider-Man sequel is gonna be like all about Miles. That's amazing. I'm so excited about that. And then there was a lot of speculation where people were like, oh, it's just DLC for Spider-Man. It's not. The best way I saw people were comparing it to was how when Uncharted 4, they made Uncharted Lost Legacy, where it was about like the 2 female characters in the game. It wasn't a full-length game. I played it. It was only maybe about like 6 or 7 hours, and it was about, well, if you bought it, it was $40. If you were lucky like me, you bought the season pass when Uncharted first came out, so you really only paid like $15 for it.
Pretty much. You got a massively steep discount, and you got more of the Uncharted 4, just, I guess, I wouldn't say aesthetic, but just, overall package. You got a big expansion of that game. The game was pretty much a blockbuster summer movie, but on a game console. It was actually pretty wild.
Yeah, like we were kind of talking about how with Miles, like a lot of the stuff we've seen so far with him, like either like TV shows or like obviously like Into the Spider-Verse. Usually Peter Parker is not around long enough for him and Miles to have like some sort of connection. So to see that like now it seems like Peter is teaching Miles and to go through basically like this game where they're, I'm assuming, like training him, having a connection with each other. Not that they didn't have a connection before, but it's definitely interesting to see that like these two will be hanging around. But who knows what will happen at the end? Maybe Peter would die, or maybe they'll do something where like you're playing Spider-Man 2 and then within the first hour of playing you could just switch over for Miles for the rest of the game.
It's funny because I'm not a big comic book reader, but I saw a bunch of discourse in terms of Miles as a character in the fan base. Mm-hmm. People actually didn't really like Miles a lot in his interpretations in the comics, because from what I've heard, he just wasn't a strong character that could identify himself, basically. Like,
right.
He had very similar things to Peter, had very similar ideals. He had the one distinguishing aspect of him, which was like the lightning and the invisibility, but he didn't stand out. That was the biggest issue that a lot of people had with him.
Right.
But what ended up happening was Into the Spider-Verse, when it was first announced, people were like, oh, it's a movie about Miles. So, we were all just so jaded about having just straight Peter Parker movies for like our entire life, 25 years here, okay?
Yeah, basically over a decade long of Peter Parker watching Uncle Ben die.
Yeah, so the movie got released and it was a really really great movie,
It
and
was.
it gave Miles a personality to identify with that he didn't have from what people would write, and then to see that get such positive reviews from that to then go into this game, knowing that Miles is going to be a better character. It's funny how he ended up being stronger outside of the medium that defined him, like what made him. Like,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
it's good.
I, I think it could also come from maybe like whoever like was trying to make this like Miles's character. Maybe it just came to a point where they just really didn't know what to do with him, and then when it came to Into the Spider-Verse, they were like, "We got you. Like we know what we're gonna do with him."
No,
Like,
yeah, and that's why I'm very glad that it ended up working out because now people are excited when they see Miles or when they hear Miles in something. Like when this got announced, everyone was actually excited.
oh, we were losing our minds.
Because it's crazy to think because not many people before Spider Verse probably would have been like, okay, who is this guy? Like I'm honest, I'd be honest, someone would actually react that way if that movie didn't even exist.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm excited for it. They've always done a great job. So seeing them continue to push their IP now, I can't wait to see what they'll do with Miles.
Yeah. The only thing so far they haven't said, because obviously Spider-Man, like the first game that came out, was for PS4. It seems like the Miles Morales is just going to be a PS5 exclusive, and from the looks of it, it's probably going to be a launch game that comes with the PS5 because they specifically stated in the trailer that it's coming out for holiday.
Yeah, holiday
Um,
2020. So
yeah,
that means either the console comes out like November, October,
yeah.
or
I
that'd
could
be the best guess.
The sickest thing they could do though is make like a really nice, like, remember how they made the Spider-Man PS4 Pro when Spider-Man came out, or it
Yeah,
was like a
like
slim, it
the
was like that red PS4. It'd be nice considering the PS4's colors are white and black, that if they actually made it like black and red.
no, I get what you're saying. Um, the I'm just excited because they show. It's funny how the game just looks so much better in terms of texture quality. And
Oh
I
yeah.
was saying this through like every game I saw. The big advancements that have been hitting a lot of the games have been texture quality,
Yeah.
volumetric lighting with volumetric clouds, and the ray tracing aspect is being used on a lot of the lighting on the floor and reflections, and that conveys a mood that most games don't have, like
Right.
or didn't really have. But when you put those things together, you get such an amazing mood in games in this year or in this time frame. So it's every game they basically showcase, even Spider-Man, just stood out for that reason. They're
Oh yeah.
utilizing those things now.
Yeah.
Um and it's funny because after this they show Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah, Gran Turismo 7 to me was like one of the games where they showed and I was like, well, it looks pretty.
If
you
there's
know?
car games, car games are basically what are used to show how good a
Yeah.
system can make a game look, just as much as NBA uses sweat to show how good their games look.
It was so sweaty.
That's the only thing they got. They're like, all right, what
Oh,
can we do to show sweat?
oh,
Make them sweat harder,
look at that man
more.
glisten. Yeah, Gran Turismo. Like, I when we were watching it with our friend Sandy, he was literally like, "Oh my god, it looks so good," and just that. And I was like, I mean, it looks like it's a car, but I could see where the appeal, because obviously Gran Turismo is the PS4 exclusive of a racing game where Xbox has Forza. So obviously I can see why they wanted to show off Gran Turismo, because that's like something that they go off against with Xbox with. But it looked pretty. It was a car game. I doubt any of us will buy it unless it's free.
Basically. Well, the thing is, it's not for us. It's
Yeah,
not a
it's
genre
definitely not
for
for us.
us.
Yeah, you gotta give
Uh,
everybody a little bit of something.
you despise racing games just because of what they are.
I'm just
You just
not
don't
good at
enjoy them.
them. I'm really bad. I feel here's the thing, and that's it's even despite just just games in general, not alone racing games. I like to get to the place I have to go as fast as possible, so breaks aren't really an option in my life. So
Hmm.
that's why I think I'm really bad at racing games, because I just want to keep going, and the car will be damaged, and I don't live for it.
Oh yeah, I got you. The
Uh, yeah. Yeah, that was about it for Gran Turismo. I don't think they set a date. Yeah, no, there's no date for Gran Turismo. They just showed that they're showing Gran Turismo. But
Yeah, most of it's to be announced unless it gives like
yeah,
a very specific quote unquote time frame.
yeah. But after that, they showed Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, Rift Apart. That was
It
that
looks,
was great. It was like watching a Pixar movie in motion that you
yeah.
could control, and it really showcased the SSD that they've designed for that console
Hmm.
because of and it's funny because they use the Rift gate as the way to disguise the quick load screen, because what
Yeah.
would happen is uh when Ratchet would fall through this purple circle, he would go into this other dimension for like a second or two, and then he would fall into another hole, but the hole would expand outwards, showing the world that's coming into view, and it would like instantly load everything, and you would see no clipping,
Hmm.
no weird FOV issues. It would just go straight into the next area, like a brand new area within a second. And I
Yeah.
just thought that was so impressive because even SSDs for like powerful computers can't do that now, and I just thought that was crazy.
Yeah, I think too we were also like talking about how just the fact that the amount of enemies you would see in the background and just the amount of stuff that was happening in the background, I think at times like that, like sometimes you wouldn't even think of them as mostly like of a 3D model. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, they're like far in the back, like either they won't be stationary or they'll be stationary until you approach them, or they're just kind of like a really weird like JPEG or GIF image. But like no, literally like everything was constantly moving in the background, whether it be enemies or like just the environment. And there was like a lot you could tell was happening. So the fact that like all that was happening and there was no lag or it wasn't like slow, like nothing looked slow. Everything just looked fresh.
Yeah, it plays like a Ratchet and Clank game, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I ended up growing up with that series. I stopped playing after I think Deadlocked. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and just from seeing it now during that gameplay section, I was like, yeah, this is just Ratchet and Clank. But
Yeah.
they very much changed Ratchet's attitude. He used to be a very edgy teenager,
Yeah.
is the word I would use, and it looks so good in motion. They had so many things happening. A lot of the characters and foliage was animated to show such life and like livelihood of them like existing in the area they were.
Hmm.
When things were getting broken apart, it gave me that kind of Call of Duty campaign vibe.
Right.
With all the spectacle. But then you just have all these little animated characters going, "Oh God, no!" And
Yeah.
so many particle effects. It slowed down like once or twice, but that's to be expected because they're really pushing to show how good it can be.
Yeah. He had a
So,
flower gun.
oh yeah, it's known for that. It's all about being the most insane nonsense you can think of, and it's just funny.
Yeah, it was really good. To no surprise, of course, it's a PS5 exclusive. Again, no date, so we don't. I don't think this is gonna come out like holiday of this year. I think maybe like first quarter of next year, maybe or second quarter. That's just my predictions. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, it was really nice. And then after that, they showed Project Athia, which was from Square Enix, that a lot of people are speculating that it's going to be Final Fantasy 16.
that was a big rumor
Yeah,
going on for a while. That
yeah,
this was. It's funny because this was the person who leaked some information about this basically stated that they were thinking of making this 16. Then when the trailer dropped and they wrote Project Athia, he basically said they were thinking of doing it. I guess they changed their minds because they probably
yeah,
don't have enough confidence in it right now.
hmm,
Um, you could tell because they showed such a little section of like gameplay movement that
yeah.
they're not very far into building this game.
No,
Um,
yeah. I mean, it was really funny. I think it was at certain points I was like, I think it was the part where she's like jumping from rock to rock, and just like because she was moving so
frames.
fast, I was literally I think I told you I was like for a second to me she looked like Noctis, and I was like, what are we looking at?
I wouldn't be surprised. Made in the same engine, so
Yeah,
her movements may seem very similar to Noctis because they may be using his animations for now.
yeah, like a
The
placeholder.
when she was standing out in the sea cloud, you could see those rocks that were from 15. I was like, of course you're gonna reuse them. You'd be dumb not to.
We built those rocks with love. You better believe we're gonna reuse them.
Oh yeah. There wasn't much to show. She did.
No.
It basically looked like it was an isekai, though, based on the wording that was used.
Mm.
That she didn't belong there. That she was from somewhere else. I was like, oh, so she's an isekai character. She got thrown into this world.
Yeah, the only thing with this one, it was like one of the few games that they showed here that it's obviously it's not just a PS5 exclusive. It's going to be coming out for the Series X as well.
Yeah, it seems to be a timed exclusive though. It looks like it's going to come to a majority of the platforms. I think excluding the Switch for now, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, considering when they ported, like, remember how they were like, yeah, Final Fantasy 15, it's gonna be on PS4, Xbox One, PC, but not the Switch. You get the pocket version.
Literally, it's like, we want FF15. Sure, here you go. Not like this.
Yeah, you get the dumbed down version where all the characters, including Gladios, just looks absolutely terrifying.
And there was some cool like animations they showed because she's like a spell wielder, like kind of like a witch.
Yeah.
But it was very brief, so there's not much to speak in terms of this game yet. I hope Square doesn't do what they normally do. What am I saying? 8 years we'll see this game or something.
Yeah, Square is like the worst marketing. They have like the worst marketing team. I feel like they are people who will have an idea for something, make like a tech demo, or they'll make like a trailer of something in game. And then they'll show it, and then they'll be like, when's it coming out? I'll be like, I don't know, like 15 years from now. That sounds about right. And it's like, why'd you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what makes you think that that's such a smart marketing strategy? Like 15 is the biggest thing for that, where it's just the fact that they show a trailer, and then they showed another, and we got nowhere close, and then it was about 15 years later, and we got a decent, mediocre game.
pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah,
there was after this, there was this cute little. I don't want to say cute, but it was very
we could say cute.
Very aesthetic pleasing.
We could say cute. That cat was cute.
Oh yeah, it's called Stray.
It's cute.
There was very much a cyberpunk aesthetic in terms of the imagery, but it looks like the humans of this world just are either dead or in a different area. And there's just robots living and existing like a civilization that's very similar to humans. But you see a lot of them on the streets, but there's a lot of neon signs. There's this like grungy green and light green kind of color going on. Mm-hmm. And then there's this cat that's wandering around with a backpack. And it seems like that's the main character. You're just viewing this world through this cat. So it's going to be very interesting to see the stories that are told using just a perspective as a viewer to these robots that don't speak.
Yeah, I mean, I was like looking up a little bit about it because I feel like at the State of Play they didn't really like talk about it or kind of showed too much about it. So I was like, I wonder if like other people were talking about it. And yeah, it's basically like there are no humans. There are only robots. And you're a cat with a backpack.
Yeah.
So you play the cat.
When we see more of it, I know this one's a timed exclusive, but I'm excited for this one.
It's literally coming out for like everything but Switch, like including PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, and then after this one, this beautiful title, Returnal.
She looks so sweaty.
Hey,
not sweaty. What did I say?
She's a little stressed.
I said she looked greasy. That's what I said.
She's stressed. Like, can you blame her?
Yeah, but like, I'm stressed always. And I don't look greasy.
Look, she's basically dealing with the situation of Edge of Tomorrow, which started as a manga that then got turned into a American movie based off that manga, where the main character would die, learn what to do next time, get past where they died, and then that would be the cycle over and over.
Right.
Get better every death. She's going through the same situation on this planet that she crash landed on. She'll get there. She'll get out of her ship. She'll get attacked. She'll die. But she keeps coming back. But every time she comes back, she seems to be losing a part of her mind. And I think she's getting heterochromia because of the planet.
Yeah.
So it looked like a third-person bullet hell action game with some RTS camera angles.
Hmm.
I wonder where to go because this is a house marquee game. I know they're more top-down shooters in style,
Right.
but I'm very in the middle with this one because I don't know if it's gonna be really good or if it's gonna be okay. But this is one of those games you have to wait till it comes out. From what I know, it's exclusive to the system though.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't set a date for it. A lot, honestly, a lot of these games that they announced at the State of Play don't really have like either a quarter date release or a time frame release. Like a lot of this stuff is just more like, it'll be out when. Good question. It's kind of like one of those.
These are facts.
Yeah. I could see you getting like maybe not day one getting it, but
Oh,
like I
I'll
could
get it at
see.
some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see you like being interested enough to try to get it. Obviously, again, I wouldn't see you buying it full price, but I could see you like wanting to at least give it a shot.
Yeah. At one point I definitely will. Depends how the reviews go on it as well. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll see. We'll see when it gets there. The next one though, Sackboy, a big
Sack
adventure.
boy,
Seeing
big adventure for that sack boy.
seeing Little Big Planet come back this way was really fun to watch.
Yes.
Like you could see how much love they put into designing the levels and the bombastic aspects
so
of all the little things going on.
so cute. It's basically so it's not gonna play anything like previous like Sackboy or like not Sackboy. I'm sorry, Little Big Planet games. They definitely took like a Super Mario 3D World route to it. Where if like you ever played it, it's not like a side scroller. It's like it's still platform. But it's very more like open. Um, it's gonna be 4 players, so there's gonna be like online co-op. But it's of course it's PS5 exclusive because it's Little Big Planet. But it just looks great.
Yeah, I'm excited. Every time I see the trailer, I'm always happy because they always use fun music, and it's always
Yeah.
that type of music that makes you go, "Yes."
I think too it was the first time in a while that we like actually saw a game and we were like, "Oh my god, a game where we could play together and like we could play with our friends." Like it was just something like that. Like I feel like we haven't like even just for me and you, like I feel like the last game we got really excited about where it was like something the both of us could play together, like whether you were here or if you were at home was A Way Out. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was like some time. So I'm like really happy to see because if there's definitely like any sort of couch co-op or even like online co-op game that I would be excited for, of course it's going to be something like Little Big Planet related.
Oh, I know this may be a little segue since we're talking about co-ops.
Mm-hmm.
Our man that made A Way Out.
Yeah.
He's announcing his new game on the EA thing this week, I believe.
Yeah, I saw his tweet, so I'm excited to see because considering he's the only one alive who's keeping the couch co-op dream going.
We'll see how it works because I've liked these games, Brothers.
Yeah.
Then he
Way
made A
Out.
Way Out. I hope he continues that kind of style.
Yeah, I mean they're both like I said, I like his games because it's things that like when you come over or if I come over your house, like it's things that we can do together while we're hanging out. Like obviously we always have things to do when we hang out, but like just shakes it up a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah, and then they introduced Destruction All Stars, which was a very Rocket League aesthetic. I don't want to say it doesn't look like Fortnite at all. And,
You know,
and
it's
but
really funny because like I was saying around like this point where I felt like we kind of went like a little downhill of the excitement of the stream.
well,
Like when they showed this game and like a couple of things after that, we were like, I mean, it's okay.
well, the thing with this game, because me and you don't play a lot of like car based games, so this game
Yeah.
was obviously not in our market.
Right.
I actually do like the designs, the character designs themselves. Like they actually have a personality that sticks out about them.
Right.
It kind of hits this fine line of having its own individuality, but also hitting like the popular market.
Yeah.
In,
I mean, I think I said too, it kind of reminded me of like a happy looking Twisted Metal.
yeah. I think this game is gonna be great for those people that have played Rocket League or just love car destruction and just high intensity things like that. Because you can also use those characters outside of the vehicles, and that's a first for that kind of look to it.
Right.
Maybe you can jump on an enemy's car, throw a bomb on it, explode it. You know, that'd be really really funny. it was just a bombastic trailer that they just try to show you the energy it throws, and I thought it was pretty cool. I obviously will not end up playing this, but I'm very happy
Same.
for those that will enjoy that.
Yeah, it
Um,
was okay.
then they gave this one Kenna Bridge of Spirits. This one, I ended up finding out that it was made by this person that had made a Majora's Mask fan trailer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they had made a fan trailer a while back, and they decided, hey, we want to make something, and then it became Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Hmm.
I'll actually send you that trailer.
Yeah, that way, if anything, I can put it in as like something that plays in the background, if anything.
Yeah, because this one, if you actually flip over the Kenna Bridge of Spirits thing, you're gonna see the name of the developer called Ember Lab, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the same name on their YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
I'll put that right there.
Thank you. I'll take a look at it later.
Yeah, and you can tell that they basically put all that effort into Kenna because a lot of it was shown in this fan made trailer, and this trailer was very very good looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
really
excited.
pretty.
Yeah.
It is coming out for everything. So PS5, 4, Series X, regular Xbox One, and Windows. Again, no Switch.
No, it's it's very unfortunate because there's different sides of the market. This game, while it is stylized to a degree, it does keep a level of graphic fidelity that really shows in the environment.
Yeah.
You can tell they're trying to do an amalgamation of stylization but also fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool because there's little things from like a lot of games that people haven't played in the modern day era where they have the little things like they have the little I don't know what those things are called, but those little spirits.
Those little black puffy boys.
Yeah, and they act like Pikmins where they follow you and they'll do things when you send commands, and then you have like this tower that you activate that has the effect of when Okami would purify an area in the original game.
Mm-hmm.
And they take little things like that from those type of games and like put it in their game, and I just thought it looked really cool.
Yeah, it looks really pretty. I think again, I could totally see you getting it, and then maybe on a sale.
Maybe it depends. If there's nothing at the time, I'll probably get it then.
Yeah.
I just
also it has no date.
Oh yeah, mostly everything here we're gonna speak about has almost no date.
Yeah. Actually, I think everything doesn't have a date now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, at this point it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah, then they took like a semi-drift away from games, and they talked about the DualSense wireless controller. So it's no longer a DualShock, it's called DualSense. It's got a built-in microphone in the controller, that's interesting.
Can't wait to yell at my actual controller.
That's the thing. Like, I was like, I mean, that's nice because I guess that means you don't have to have like a headset in order to feel like you're inclusive of, I guess, playing with your friends online. Obviously, the controller's not out yet, so nobody knows how great the quality though of the controller microphone is. Though, besides that, though, there's still a headphone piece in there. So if you do have wired headphones, you can just plug it into the controller. I'm sure if you have Bluetooth headphones, you could use it on the PS5. Apparently, though, there are like super tiny engravings on the controller where it's supposed to be like the X square triangle circle buttons, and I'm very concerned of what it's gonna be like if I hold my controller for like multiple hours, that if I look on my hands, like it'll have it imprinted on there.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to know till we find out, right?
Yeah, like again, obviously, like nobody's really like held it, but I'm just curious about that. I was like, I could totally see like playing something for like 2 or 3 hours and then looking up at my hand and seeing my hand covered in X square triangles and circles.
That'd be hilarious. It just imprinted on your hand for the rest of your life.
I could just see it. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Obviously, as of right now, there's no different colors or anything out for the controller. It's just white with black, so it's okay.
Now, I'm gonna bring this one up because I've seen the reaction to this one. No one seems to be it just seems to be getting hated very much. Um, it's called Goodbye Volcano High.
Yeah, we were really confused while we were watching this. The
And
trailer really didn't like say what it was about. Just the fact that like there's not like it's not like humans. You're kind of more like
they,
animal people or
yeah,
dinosaurs.
I think for this kind of specific one, they call them scalies.
Oh, okay. Oh, because they're like reptiles.
Yeah, like reptile-like and whatnot. Thing with this game, um, I feel very bad for the developers because
Mm.
it's something they've worked their heart out for, and I can commend them for the animation quality in these scenes because if this is running real time like animations, that looks really great in
Yeah.
terms of like if that's how the game's gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
I went to check the trailer after, um, on their on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
That ratio of hatred is 80% dislikes.
Wow.
I feel very bad because they've worked very hard to make what they consider a good, a good game, a good story, and you know how people that play games are. They're very judgmental before. Obviously, this may not be for me, but there are a core group of people that love this kind of stuff, and maybe this could be a good thing for them. But I just think the negative reaction is unwarranted, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I could see where confusion can come from with this game because again, when me and you were watching it, we were like, "Well, what do you do? Like, what's the gameplay like? Like, is it is it like a Telltale game where like you're making decisions and then what your actions do make the decisions? Is it nothing like that? I know there's music involved, so is it maybe more like a rhythm game? So it's kind of like it was just more like honestly I thought it was more just like a show because I know like PlayStation actually has like shows that they have on there, so I was like, well, are they like demonstrating like their streaming services maybe? But no, apparently it is a video game and it's coming out for everything, and it's supposed to come out next year for 2021.
Yeah,
So
I'm very cautious of the game, not because it just doesn't hit my demographics and like things I enjoy.
yeah,
I'm very sci-fi aesthetic, very um fantasy based to a degree. I
yeah,
like anime inspired things, but this seems to be an amalgamation of these things in a way that just don't seem to hit it for me, right?
yeah.
Um, and it's funny because it just seems very apparent that this is like they're gonna die from a meteor that's gonna destroy this planet.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess that like that's the other thing. Like, is
maybe
this
it'll be a
supposed
plot twist.
like is this supposed to be though like a time like the time when dinosaurs roamed the planet and this is what they did? Like they wore
I'm
clothes and they
I'm
were in a
pretty
band.
sure that's what they're gonna go with. Like they're gonna show modern day us, but with the dinosaur aspect, and then the meteor may come and just go boom.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just very yeah, like they kept hinting at the fact that there was like a meteor is coming or like things like that. It was just very like I feel like if I saw more what this game was about or like something with the gameplay, like I feel like personally like I might have wanted to get it because I like if it's anything like a Life is Strange, what like the gameplay aspect, what of decision making, like I like those type of games or like a visual novel even, you know. I really like them, but it was just the fact that we watched it and we were like, well, what do you do? Like what's it about? And it was very confusing, and I hope like if they do make another trailer or something for this game, it's just a lot clearer. You know, they always say when you're like editing something or like whether it be like film or TV, like sometimes you just got to make it like a little dumb for the audience.
Well,
You know?
I don't think there was an issue with what they showed. I think it's more of how it's shown because
Right.
it's pretty apparent from what I'm seeing is like that like the goth girl
Mhm.
has like hidden what she likes and what she wants to do for like a majority of her time.
Right.
And I think she just said, you know what, the world's gonna end. I'm gonna be me now.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's gonna be from what I've seen in this trailer. It's
Yeah.
obviously I'm pretty sure. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm like 100% right. It's just
Right.
it's gonna be a story based game. where
Right.
you just move forward with the plot. They
Yeah.
talk to the characters, and that's gonna move forward.
Yeah.
I don't, obviously that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just about how they tell the story, and I think that's gonna define this game's presence. But
Yeah,
it
I mean,
won't stop the negativity.
yeah, like for all we know, like this, just because this is like a really, like the trailer wasn't really that great, doesn't mean like the game is going to be terrible. I don't think it was, I just don't think it was a very good first impression for what they wanted to depict and show. Um, and that's why I'm really hoping, like, if when in the future, when they do make like another trailer or like something maybe that gets closer to the release date, it'll just show more like what I would be doing, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's unfortunate. But after that, they showed Oddworld Soulstorm, which I know when we were watching this, we were like semi confused. I, of course, looked into it a little bit more. It's a remake.
Yeah.
And it's a sequel to Abe. I'm going to say it wrong. Abe Exodus. Where it was originally a PS1 game, and I remember saying this while we were watching it. I was like, "Oh, didn't they like remake this already?" And I was right. They did remake the first one on PS4, like I think like a year or two ago. And that this is the sequel that they had, the sequel to the first one, and now they remade it, and it's all like nice and pretty now. You were very interested in it.
Well, more than anything, I just like how dark it was showing that the world was.
Mhm.
I like the one of my shots in that trailer that caught my interest was the train. How they use the
Yeah.
dust streams and the face of it, and I'm interested to see if it'll be dark or if it's just for that trailer. I'm not gonna get it on release, but I'm excited to see what it'll give me in that aspect. I want to see what this game's about. I've never played Oddworld. I've seen this character once in a while, but I didn't know what they are, who they are,
Right.
But we'll see when we get there. Honestly, a lot of the trailer, the way it kind of timed its music to the scenes was pretty damn good, and I'm just excited to see what it brings.
Yeah. Good
There's
shit
nothing
on the
really
engine.
like I gotta have it right now, but I'm cautious on it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm sure if you get curious enough, you could probably find the first game on a good deal, cuz like I said, it's been out for I think about like a year or two now. But yeah, that was probably a bit. So you want to know what note I have for the next game we're going to talk about?
¿Qué pasa?
It just says let Jeffrey do most of the talking.
Oh wow! For Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, for Ghostwire. Because I had a feeling you'd want to talk about it more.
Well, I'll be honest. When I first saw the trailer for Ghostwire, I had a negative reaction to it. I had a certain expectation from the game because Shinji has a tendency to make third person shooters or third person horror games. And he's been with Tango. He made Evil Within 1. I did not enjoy that game. I played Evil Within 2. I really enjoyed that game.
Yes.
So I thought, they understand what to do to make these games good now with Evil Within 2. I consider that my favorite horror game in that genre. And with Ghostwire, I was like, we'll be in Tokyo. We're going to see horror things in Tokyo. We're going to walk around in the same kind of hub open world that was in Evil Within 2. And then all of a sudden I started seeing a first person camera, and I just started him doing like Naruto sigils, and he just started blasting everything and killing things, and I'm like
no.
this is a little different than what I thought was gonna happen.
Very not not like excited, but not really happy either.
It was more of I betrayed my own expectations. So
Yeah.
I didn't get angry at the game. It was more like, dang it, this is not what I wanted. But then I watched more of it. I watched it a few times, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be negative about it. I'm gonna try it out with an open mind, and I'll probably end up enjoying it anyways.
Probably.
Because it's so you have enough horror games where you can't fight back. He was probably tired of that, and he was like, you know what? I want to give you a horror game where you can fight back. You're gonna fight them on an equal playing field, and I think that's cool in its own way. I think this is gonna be a VR title too, because most times I see a first person like that, I'm only assuming it's gonna go VR.
Yeah, I mean, considering too Sony's lack of, I feel like, VR games, like they're probably like biggest one they ever had was like obviously Resident Evil 7. Like that was probably like more of the seller, considering that, and Until Dawn Blood Rush, I guess, to a degree. Where like they were packaging it with the VR sets, you know, it's like, oh, you get a VR headset, you get the controllers, you get 7 for free. So I'm sure the fact that there's like a really nice looking game like this, and if they can put it on VR, they'll probably put it on VR.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna hope it does well or it's a good game. I'll wait till I get there because I won't know until then.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But yeah.
Um. Yeah, and then there's this game called Jet: The Far Shore, and I don't know what to think of this game at all. Honestly, there's not much to say. That it felt like a very monochromatic uh, art piece in motion that me and Kathleen didn't really care for, but not in a like, oh, this is garbage. It's just we just didn't understand what it was showing, and maybe there's fans of this developer that know this, or it has a meaning to someone, but we just didn't know what was happening here.
Yeah, like honestly, between this and like the next couple of games, that's why, like I said, like around this part of the stream, I felt like it kind of slowed down by a lot. There was just either games that were like, I like, obviously, like either we definitely weren't gonna buy it day one, or it was kind of like, maybe like on a good sale. Like this was definitely one of them where we were kind of like, okay, like yeah, it looks really pretty. I mean, I guess it's just like it was just okay, you know.
No, yeah. Then they showed Godfall.
Ooh.
Godfall. Now, I have a few things to say about this. The
I
game
don't
looks
know.
gorgeous. Okay.
Yeah.
The armor sets, the art design in this game is very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I love it aesthetically. When they first showed it off on last year, I was
Mm-hmm.
interested in it just due to the aesthetic. I don't know who on the marketing team thought the music that played with this would work with the way this looks. I
It
don't
was
hate
really bad.
I don't hate the music. I don't, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't think it fits the aesthetic that you're looking for here. The
It
people that
didn't.
see this armor are expecting like this epic choir music or this very like chant music to kind of exist with it next to it, right?
Right.
Um, like not Dark Soulsy, but like you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I just dropped something on the floor.
It's all good. But I think it looks cool and in motion. I think it's fine. I'm very apprehensive because it's Gearbox.
Yeah, Gearbox, but after Borderlands 3 with me and Gearbox are in a very like rocky relationship. Like I've played every single Borderlands, I've played every single DLC, and like I just 3, like there was so much drama. Like just the drama alone with Borderlands 3, it was just such a turn off from the entire thing. And obviously once like the user scores and like reviewer scores came out, and it just made me a little sad, like how Borderlands 3 kind of turned out with it, which is just what they did with the characters. And just like it's obviously like it's fun to play because it's Borderlands. Like they got that down pat, like we got that. But it was just like I just feel like after 2, and I like pre-sequel, I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people don't, but I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. It's just something with 3, just there's just so much stuff with
3
it
was missing a lot of the soul that defined
yeah.
2. Now it's funny because the first one was missing the happiness and the not the happiness, wrong word.
It was just the writing.
The insanity of 2.
Yeah.
Okay? And,
Yeah,
and the
like,
thing is, 1 was a great base game. 2 was kind of we know what we did wrong, or not wrong, but hey, we can do something else. Maybe this will work. And then
yeah.
Birch wrote that one, and you can tell Birch wrote that. And then as soon as you play 3, you can tell Birch didn't write that.
Yeah, like regardless what anybody's like opinion is about Anthony Birch, like obviously like he said the things, or he's done some things in life where people may have questioned him, but like you have to say at the end of the day that like Borderlands 2's writing is just so funny, and it's so like great, and the way he writes for the like newer characters, or like just the way like he was thinking about it, like it's just funny. And like that's the thing, like I even find pre-sequel to be like very funny. Heck, even was it Tales from the Borderlands? Like that's funny. And even only a couple of writers from Gearbox like went to that one. I think that was the last one he either helped write or he did a little bit of writing.
No,
for,
Birch worked with the team on that.
Yeah,
basically
and then he left after that.
Him and that team said that they wanted to finish that game. I want to read into it to clarify certain statements, but I know they really loved working on that game and they gave a lot for it. That's why it ended up being so good. But reason I want to speak more about it is because if they got forced into a crunch situation, I'm not happy. But that's beside the point.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, look, I could sit here and rant about all my issues I have with just Borderlands in general, but, like, that was, like, the other thing with 3 that's kind of a disappointment, whereas, like, this is the first time you were seeing some of those characters from Tales of the Borderlands after, like, let's say probably, like, 3 years or so, after, obviously, like, Telltale shut down, so, like, obviously there's we're probably not, like, I mean, there is a possibility, but it's slim that we could get a sequel. But it was like just trying to be like, oh my god, like Vaughn is here, and like, I mean, you only really see like 2 characters in Tales of the Borderlands, but just seeing them is like, wow, like I can't believe it's so exciting to see them. They're like in the game for like 30 minutes, maybe. Like they maybe have like 20 or 30 minutes of dialogue, and just some of the like the writing, like you could tell like the people who wrote for them didn't understand the characters at all.
Yeah, like, they were just filling in the slot, being like, "Yeah, look, they exist, right?"
Yeah, like they just totally didn't get it. Like, and I think that's where it just kind of sucked. Anyway, Godfall. Again, I can sit here and talk about Borderlands.
Yeah,
for like
at this point, we're pretty much gonna move forward. We're gonna now we're gonna talk about Solar Ash. Now, this game is made by the developers of Hyper Light Drifter.
Right.
That game used sound effects and imagery to convey its story or lore story. Then actually, there was no talking. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing I noticed from Solar Ash. After, obviously it's a very colorful and beautiful game. When you see the main model character come out and pull out his sword and his very intricate design, he jumps off of whatever he was standing on into this kind of black hole looking thing. And when he starts sliding and swerving around it and seeing all these little particles come out, I was like, this is beautiful. Then there's this white celestial body, presuming female, saying, "Are you scared?" "Yeah, you're scared." And then she knocks him out, and then he goes flying. He lands in this like rectangular stone patch, and then he wakes up to what would be assumingly the tutorial level. And he walks forward a bit, and then he starts like skating with like his bare feet, and then the camera pans to like a 180, and then you just see the logo Solar Ash, and then it's just a beautiful looking game.
It looks really badass.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see what that'll be. I liked Hyper Light Drifter a lot. It was a very difficult game, but it was a very enjoyable game. So I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this one. That's all I really have to say about this one, but I do hope it ends up being good.
Yeah, apparently it's having a delayed launch to Xbox, but it's basically the same thing. Basically nothing on here, I think, except for maybe like one game. Nope, I'm wrong. Nothing is coming out for Switch. So basically everything is coming out for... This one's coming out for everything except for Switch, because nothing on here.
Not surprised.
Yeah, nothing. Switch didn't get love at this one.
No,
They showed Hitman 3.
It was a CGI. It wasn't really gameplay, but I haven't played Hitman. People that have played it like it a lot, though. So I'm excited if it's more of that good stuff for you guys, because that's just what it is.
We were wrong, by the way. This one has a kind of date. It's coming out January 2021.
Okay.
Wow, that was exciting.
That's still very far.
We're in June?
Yeah, it's I'm calling that far, all right?
I guess. You got another half of the year to go, basically. Yeah. You're halfway there.
Then they showed Astro's Playroom. Now,
it's the Wii Sports of the PS5 era.
Basically, this game, Astro's Playroom, is designed off of this little robot that was in a VR game for the PS4. And they were used as kind of a convenience. No, convenience. I cannot
convenience?
No, that's not the word. Um, they're using Astro as a way to convey the features of a specific peripheral. So
Ah,
for PS4 it was VR, for PS5 it's the DualSense controller. So Astro's going to be used for the DualSense controller. This is a game that's pre-installed. It's like the U2 of Apple Music. It's in your device whether you want it or not.
that's why it's the Wii Sports of the PS5 era. It's going to become the most game bought because you didn't have a choice. You had to buy it with your PS5.
Yeah, but it's like that buffer game you can play just to get the hang of that controller. There's not much to say. It is a platformer, and it's gonna have little gimmicks. It's gonna be a fun, probably little few hour game, and then that's it.
Yeah, like nothing crazy.
Then they showed this indie game called Little Devil Inside. So I did a little bit of digging on this one.
Oh, thank God, because this was another one where we were like, what's it about? There's just a random man pooping on the toilet at one point.
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter game
Okay.
that basically has been in development for a while. But then they finally decided that, hey, we're very close to release, but you know what? We're gonna put it on the next console.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
and
still
the
coming
thing
out
is,
for PS4 though and Xbox One.
yeah, but they decided that they're gonna make it for the next console as well, basically, because they were that far in development.
Okay.
They then asked, no, I'm phrasing this wrong.
You'll get there.
It's basically the concept is that the main character, the black hair spicy guy that looks like Phoenix Wright.
Spicy or spiky?
Yeah, he's basically a hunter,
answer.
and he kills monsters, and he brings those things to that old man we saw that pooped in the toilet, and he'll study them. And it's just funny because they basically spoke, hey, we want the characters to look very simple and stylized, but we want the world to be lush and beautiful.
Okay.
Like they really want to push how beautiful the world looks around your character. I actually, as I've watched that trailer a few times again, I'm actually very interested in that game.
Oh, really?
I was very like iffy at the beginning, but then I realized this game reminds me of the one being made by Swery, Good Life.
Oh, I really want that game to come out.
But the way this game looks reminds me of A Good Life, and I was like, I think I like that aesthetic. I think I've just come to that realization, and I was like, it's a very rare aesthetic to have this kind of like a polygon sharp edge kind of look that looks good.
Right.
And I think this game, the music too. The music was great, like with the violin going like, it was just. I was like, I like this. I'm actually just gonna get it. Like I'm not even gonna wait. I'm just gonna get it.
I'm buying it right now.
Yeah. So I if the developer ever hears this somehow, I really like what you guys made with this one, and I'm excited to try it out and see. I hope it's a very well crafted experience. With whatever you decide to make the game around. Then they showed Sweat, and that's all we're gonna say about that.
It's so sweaty. NBA is so sweaty. I don't like it. Like, I get it.
That's it. We're just going to say it's sweaty.
It's so sweaty. Then they showed Bug Snack.
Now, this one is nightmare fuel in a video game form, where if you eat something, you start turning into it to a degree.
I thought honestly it was gonna be like a Viva Pinata for PS4 or like.
Oh,
for
you're so wrong.
Like I was like, oh, maybe they'll bring Viva Pinata to PS4 because like I love Viva Pinata.
Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were very made. It was very like, I guess obviously it's supposed to be a little more like kiddish because it's like food with like faces on it, and it's like.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, like I guess it's supposed to look. I guess I'm assuming again, but like at the end they showed like this really weird looking, I guess it was like a clump of food, like of different foods together, and he just like starts like running towards the camera, like towards the screen. We were like, oh.
I realized I forgot to talk about something with Ratchet and Clank.
Very far back, but okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'll speak about it in the end.
No, you do now. It's fine. What? I'm sorry. I feel really, really hurt that you interrupted my conversation about Bug Snack.
Yeah, the female Ratchet.
Oh yeah, that's a female, like the purple Ratchet.
Yeah, I totally. I don't know how I forgot about that. That's ridiculous that I did.
It's okay. It wasn't in my notes either.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the first for the series to have like a female version of Ratchet, and not Ratchet as Ratchet, but I wonder who she's gonna end up being.
Of his kind.
Yeah, I literally just like, wait, how did I forget that?
It's okay.
But yeah, with Bugsnax, it's a very weird game.
Yeah,
or
I'm assuming
idea.
it's just like a giddy game that they were like, look, you could get this for your kid when you get a PS5. I don't think it even has a date. Q4 of 2020. So that's Nightmare Fuel game is coming out this year.
Keep
so
pushing it back, please.
That makes sense. It's gonna be a launch. This is so basically here's your launch titles for PS5. It's Spider-Man and Bugsnax.
Yeah, and then I find it funny the duality of man, how you get a game like Bugsnax. This game reminds me of, remember that movie that was being made that they lost all the assets for the movie and then they released.
Food Fight.
This is like the Food Fight of games right now. Then you go from Food Fights to like some of like Pixar's or Disney's actual heartfelt best work. Then you got like something like Demon Souls. The Demon Souls they didn't give it another name. They just said Demon's Souls. It's a remake of the original that came out that defined and didn't define but created the genre for the Dark Souls format.
Yeah.
And because of licensing issues they had back then, because the name was only for PlayStation, they then said, hey, let's make another game, but let's just call it Dark Souls. And then that's how Dark Souls came to be. And then because that got more widespread attention, that got popular. And then everyone knew about Demon Souls, but it started kind of getting lost in the PS3 cycle because it was a very early PS3 game in like 2009. That's so early.
Yeah.
And after that, it just kind of, people knew about it, but no one really seeked it, basically. And now with the remake coming out, they basically showed the intro of the original. I think it looks amazing. Graphically, animation-wise, I was like, wow, this game looks beautiful. I can't wait to die.
I just love the fact that they were like, we can't make Demon Souls on other consoles. Fine. We're gonna call it, looks around Dark Souls.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I'm excited. I love these type of games. Like the last game, Sekiro, I tried to like that game. I by the end of it, I realized I did not have fun with it. Unfortunately, I wish I did. Because it forces you to play one style, and if you don't like that style of play, it'll punish you.
It's not worth.
And it's not like the game's amazing. It's just not for what I want, not what I wanted out of it. Basically,
It's a lot to commit to.
Yeah, but there's so much that we're gonna unravel with Demon Souls. When that comes out, I'm disappearing. You know that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely like one of those games where like we're like, hey, we're not gonna see each other for a week. Is that okay?
Yeah. And then they showed a game called Deathloop. They showed this game before.
I
Before
don't
this.
remember it.
Yeah, I'll show you like off this, but they did show this before from Bethesda. It's made by Arcane Studios. They made Prey.
Well, Bethesda's publishing it, so it's probably gonna be good because they're not making.
Yeah.
It.
Because the studios that they publish are great in making games, and this is something I can attest to from a lot of the games that I've played. Like Tangleworks is one of them, Arcane Studios is one of them. I have just not been a fan of in-house studios of this publisher. They do not make what I consider good games, but they get away with it somehow, and I will never understand why. But they have certain things that have attached to the consumer market that loves those games, and there's nothing I'll ever understand about it. But, you love their games, that is totally fine. And I'm never going to be like, how dare you like Bethesda games,
Garbage.
Nah, but, because I played Fallout 4 for like 70 hours, and I can tell you right now, the story was not good. Only thing I liked from it was exploring. And if that's the one thing that games is designed for, that the consumer, if that's what it is, I get it. I do. But I wasn't going to do it longer than that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, even me too, remember? I tried it like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, every time I would try it again to try to see if I would, like, at first I thought maybe it was me. I was like, maybe it's me. Like, maybe I'm missing out on something. Because everybody around me was like, oh, Fallout 4 is so good. And then I would play it, and I'd be like, I don't like it.
Oh, yeah. And we were pretty much one the same in that. But yeah.
It's like we're dating.
Yeah. But then with Deathloop, it's the concept of, There was a game called Katana Zero that came out. It was an indie game.
Mhm.
When you mess up once, you die, and you have to start the whole room again. Basically, it's a puzzle of how to kill everyone and sneak out all at the same time,
Right.
and you have to do it perfect from end to end. That's literally what Deathloop is. Um, I like that they're giving you all these powers to do nonsense with, which is fun. It reminds me a lot of Dishonored.
Mhm.
Dishonored gave you those type of options. You could be a stealth killer. You didn't have to kill anyone, or you could have just killed everything. Um,
One or the other.
those type of games are very short, but they have a lot of replayability. That's what they do.
Right.
I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with this one. I do like the protagonist is black though. I'm like, yes, give me that diversity. Like,
Good
give it
shit.
to me.
Good shit.
I'm just I hope it's good. That's it. Like when I play it, I play it. I'm not gonna get that day one, but I'm gonna get it when I can.
Right.
Then
Oh,
then they
my
showed
boy.
Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8, where they used Village Vill, where they basically showed that for the threes, the five and the three. Excuse me. Oh, fuck.
Oh, bless you.
Sorry.
It's really funny. I thought because I've been sneezing all day that I would be the one who would sneeze in the middle of recording, and so far so good.
You're next.
Yeah, my boy Ethan, he's back.
Yeah, I'm very happy to know that because I mentioned this to you where they don't have concurrent games with the protagonist being the same.
Yeah, just like the first one.
One
I
is
was really-
Jill.
I don't know why I was like, oh, so happy. My boy Ethan, he back. I'm sure he's not happy, but I am.
Obviously, it's having frame rate issues right now in development.
Yeah, that was like the biggest eyeball. Like we watched it at least back a couple of times, and we were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
no."
no, because they're making it for VR 100%. When it's Ethan is the protagonist in this game. When it's first person, I'm just gonna assume it's Ethan from now on. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
But I'm interested to see because in this they keep redesigning Chris too. By the way,
he's so fucking ugly.
he chunk, all right, he chunky.
Oh my god, he's so nasty. Like honestly, when that guy like first came in, I was like, "Who the fuck is that supposed to be?" And Ethan's like, "Chris," and I was like, "That's Chris."
Heck yeah.
I was like, "You could have fooled me."
And you know, basically, either if that was Mia, she got shot up.
Yeah, well, okay, so apparently with the premise quote, because who knows by the time this game comes out, it's Ethan and Mia, and it's like obviously after Resident Evil 7, I was gonna say 8, and they have a daughter, and then like Chris shows up and he's like, fuck you, Ethan, and like apparently kills Mia and supposedly kills their daughter. I don't think he actually kills their daughter though. I think the daughter gets taken somewhere because throughout the trailer you just constantly see a baby everywhere.
We'll see where it goes. The Van Helsing kind of feeling like with the kind of werewolf guy and like the witches like that looked really cool. The music was really good too. It was kind of like hyping the event happening. Yeah. So then they showed Pragmata. By the end of the trailer, they ended up showing that it was a Capcom IP. And that's very very interesting because they haven't done that. They haven't made a new IP in ages. And investing into something new is something very uncommon for big companies like that. So knowing
Yeah.
that they did it was just really cool.
I think we were saying too, we were like, it kind of reminds us of a Kojima game.
Mostly because of the aesthetic he'll go with for like mech designs and body types.
Yeah.
I wonder what it'll be because the trailer basically gives us certain pieces of information, but will not tell us what it is. But it won't come out till 2021, from what I've seen here.
Which isn't too bad.
No, 2022, even worse.
Oh yes, that was the one game that was like years from now.
So yeah, we'll see where this will lead. But there's not much more else. But then they showed the granddaddy of their event, Horizon 2 Forbidden West.
So excited. I really liked Horizon Zero Dawn. Even though I feel like that year, like, it came out, I feel like I kind of got like shafted because it was just the year where like there's so many like things that just had came out. So like award wise, it won stuff, but it didn't win like as much as it could. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I really loved Horizon Zero Dawn. It was a lot of fun. So to see that they're making a sequel where there's completely different environment, it looks like Aloy is like moving more across the world to explore. Obviously, we saw some familiar faces. It just looked really, really pretty. And again, like I know we were talking about it earlier, like how the PS5 is definitely showing off like its ability with lighting, and I really think this game, like the trailer they showed for this game, like it did it justice.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they do with it because I didn't end up playing the DLC for this game after its release.
Mm-hmm.
But now that's coming out on PC as well, I can't wait to see how much of a powerhouse it's going to look on PC.
Oh,
Then
probably look great.
then to see what it'll look like on PS5 is going to be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much else to say except it's looking more of the same but better.
Yeah,
And then
like they didn't really show like gameplay stuff or anything like that.
and the underwater level.
Oh yes, you can. There's gonna be underwater areas, so I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it goes.
Like, yeah, it looks great. Of course, there's no date. Obviously, it's coming out for PS5. It also wouldn't surprise me if this was some sort of time exclusive, and then it comes out for PC. Nowadays, most likely everything at some point will just come out for PC. Even Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, that was a big one, but
Yeah.
it was pretty wild because everyone was asking for it, and there it is.
Just out of nowhere, just like that.
It was just funny they got leaked too, which is even worse for. But hey, it brought a lot of conversation up, and people were really happy when it did drop.
Yeah. So game wise, that was pretty much about it. For this like little live stream that they had. It definitely had a lot of good games. I feel like it also had a lot of okay games. Like there's definitely stuff I said like, oh, I would probably buy day one. Like obviously like Ratchet and Clank, like Spider-Man, Resident. Well, I said I would have you buy Resident Evil and then I would just watch you play Resident Evil because I don't do spooky well.
Pretty much, but
So
that's what I'm here for.
but yeah, there was definitely like a good amount of stuff I would like. Obviously Horizon, like I would buy that. But then they finally showed the PS5 console, and oh boy, did the internet explode with a lot of memes.
Oh yeah, the router.
Yeah, basically, as I'm sure some of you have seen, the Xbox One, or not the Xbox One, the Xbox X, basically was compared to a refrigerator, while now the PS5 is being compared to a router. It was really weird. At first, we were obviously questioning its design because it's just new. Like at first we were questioning a lot, like, does it have to be stand up? Can we please put it down? Because my immediate instinct, seeing that the fact that the PS5, if it was something that would always have to be stood up, was I could immediately see me like kick it by accident and it just breaking. Like I could see me so many times doing that. But no, you can like lay it down flat. So that's
Do you know
probably
how big it is though?
No, how big is it?
It's bigger than all the other consoles.
Is it really? It
Yeah,
looks so small.
No, because if you actually compare it, because you know how they had the Xbox Series X?
Yeah.
It's bigger than that.
Seriously? That thing, like I said, that thing looks like a refrigerator. So I would have thought that thing would be the biggest out of all of them.
Here, I'm going to show you. Give me a sec. This is the comparison chart.
Let's see. Let me take a look at it. Oh.
Yeah. That's all I'm like, there's no way you're kicking this thing.
I could so... You don't know who I am.
You're just going to fall on it and it's going to break.
Well, no, because I was thinking realistically, like, where would I put it? Because the way most of my TV stand works, mostly works if my consoles are flat. So if I had no choice to stand it up, I was like, well, where the fuck would I put it? And the only place I could think about putting it is right next to my computer tower, which is right in distance of my foot.
Yeah.
So I could 100% see me, if this was something that was not laid flat, I would absolutely by accident kick it. Literally, I think I said besides that, like, I'm gonna kick it, was, have we not learned from the 360 era where everybody kept constantly, like, standing their Xbox 360s up? And they would just fall over all the time, and it would just ruin every single person's discs, because at that point Xbox didn't move over to like the Blu-ray discs yet. They still had regular just DVDs, so they would just scratch like crazy.
Yeah.
It's great. It was a fun time for all of us. They didn't say a price. They probably won't for probably till, I'm gonna give it till August or September.
In terms of
Like when
release,
they're gonna, no, when they're gonna say the price.
I think they're gonna wait till Xbox says something, and if not, they have a set day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like too, if there is a set day, I think it's gonna be either in August or September, because it's just a little bit before holiday.
Yeah, we'll see when it gets there, but it basically just, you can see the vents on it too, so I'm excited to see what it'll do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the longer I look at it too, the less I'm like, all right, it doesn't look that bad. Like, I feel like comparing it to the Xbox Series X, like the Xbox Series X kind of looks basic.
Yeah.
You know, and the PS5, like, she got curves to her.
Yeah. My favorite meme on the PS5 was always the Seto Kaiba one.
Oh, where they like put his head on top of it.
Yeah. But we'll see it when it gets here. I wonder what the UI is gonna look like though. That's more important to me.
Yeah, I mean, they did like, it was like 3 months ago or something like that. They had like that really big live stream where they were going much more in detail about the PS5. That obviously wasn't for somebody really like me and you.
Yeah.
It was really more for people who were like interested to like put their games on a PS5 and see what the PS5 was compatible of, which is why I also think why a majority of the live stream, when I tried watching it, I was like, this don't make sense to my small brain. It's like, it does not compute. But it looks great. I mean, for what they show so far, I mean, the only thing is, of course, since like a lot of this stuff doesn't have a date, we don't know what the launch for the PS5 is going to look like besides Bugsnack and Spider-Man. So like for all we know, like maybe a lot of the stuff won't come out during the launch. Maybe a lot of it will, like I feel like that's what it comes down to, which is why me personally, I'm somebody who just does not buy consoles like day one. I think the closest I've ever gotten to something like that was the Switch, but I bought it like 6 or 7 months after it came out, where like there was like a decent amount of stuff, like not a lot, but like stuff to get me by at least. But even like after that, remember, like we went through a phase after Breath of the Wild where like we just didn't play our Switches for a while.
Yeah, it wasn't until Xenoblade 2 for me.
Yeah, like I think for me, I definitely know like with the Switch I picked up stuff along the way. Like I picked up like Fate. I picked up obviously Pokemon. Like Pokemon was like the big thing that got me back into my Switch, and then Animal Crossing, I just felt like after, obviously there was another Zelda game after Breath of the Wild. I just felt like there was definitely like a period of time when I got my Switch, even 6 months after. I think I beat Breath of the Wild within like a month or two, or at least stopped playing to the point where I was like, ooh, I just hit my mic, sorry. Or at least stopped playing to the point where I was satisfied, where I put it away, and I probably didn't play it again till like another 6 or 5 months later,
Yeah.
And I just don't want to go through that. Like, let's say, like me and you are predicting right now PS5 is going to be like 600-700, like around there. And if I'm going to spend like $600 or $700 to maybe buy like one or two $60 games, like I just don't want that.
No, I agree. You gotta have a big reason to get it. If there's not enough of a reason, there's no justification for the purchase. Like that's just how it is.
Or even if they're like, oh, but we're gonna port, like let's be honest, they're probably gonna port over like Last of Us 2, and like they'll probably port over like a couple of other like PlayStation exclusives, but I'll probably have them on my PS4. So for me, it's like, all right, well, why do I want to replay? Like for instance, like let's say they port over Persona 5 Royal for PS5. It's like, all right, like why would I that doesn't make me want to go out and get a PS5. Or like if they ported over Kingdom Hearts 3 with the entire trilogy, like that's not going to make me want to buy it right away. Like it's different if I had it already and I'll be like, yeah, I'll pick it up, but like if it's nothing crazy about it, I what I'm also saying is I can wait. That's basically more or less what I'm saying is I can wait.
No, I got you. I totally got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was basically the event. And
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
no, I liked a lot. I feel like if I had to rate it a number, I'd give it a solid 8.
Yeah, like I would give it maybe like a 7. I just feel like for me, like I feel like you had some things you were interested like along the way. I think for me, like there was just a huge chunk where like I was losing so much interest in it, like probably up until like Demon Souls was brought up. And then like maybe after like those like obviously they had like Demon Souls and Resident Evil and Pragmata and Horizon, like the end, like I feel like the beginning was great. Wait, hit my mic again, I'm sorry. The beginning was great, the ending was great. I just feel like the middle was like for me was like it was all right.
No, I
um
got you. Just we have different tastes. That's just how it
yeah,
is.
you're more adventurous, I'm not.
I know. We struggle with this to this day.
Uh, but yeah, so I guess that'll wrap up this episode of a couples night. We'll probably try to record a little bit more often, considering like we're in quarantine now. Tonight we kind of tried recording from our homes to see how well it went. It went okay.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, either that or we'll just record back at one of our places, you know. But besides that, I'm Kathleen,
And I'm Jeffrey.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.